I would tell you this, man, and I'm side interjecting, but then again, I said I'll fuck around. But this feeling I got recently off of this song, these artists out of Brooklyn, this woman named Stahhr, S-T-A-H-H-R, S-T-A-H-H-R, and also DJ Crazy Bizarro. Yo, man, she did this cut called Barbarella, man, and I ain't like I'm fronting or faking, man. It's like Wildman Steve played it on our rap station show. I have a show I've done for 11 years called And You Don't Stop. And we really break songs. I mean, it's the 60 minutes of, 120 minutes of hip hop, right? We do it, we take pride in it. It's on stations and whatnot. And Wildman Steve, who's our legend from WBAU as well, played this song by them called Barbarella. Yo, I lost my fucking mind. I was on my way to the airport, bro.
As love turns to hate, I can't debate cause I got caught up too. But drew the line when it came to choosing her over you. You didn't do the same, her name was always on your lips. I had to come to grips, couldn't compete with those childbearing hips. She birthed generations through heroin, crack, and weed. And though I tried, I couldn't compare or give you what you need. To let you tell it, I let you smell it and you lost it. Now here this chick comes, scooping up John she had fostered. Surrogate mama, I once suckled at her breast, but I needed my own rest, so I packed my shit and left. She snatched the best I ever had, took him around the world and back, track after track, clearly an addiction, in fact, impact of global proportions, killing all my dreams now, thought abortion, miscarried, now he married to the muse, got me sick. I used to inspire, now he got no time to stick. I'm feeling some type of way. What happened to our love? We used to vibe every day. Ayy, I feel you pulling away. I used to make it happy. Now you got nothing to say. Ayy, I'm feeling some type of way. What happened to our love? We used to vibe every day. Ayy, I feel you pulling away. I used to make it happy, baby.
You're the first lady to bless the show.
Because I don't consider myself to be a female MC. I'm a woman that raps. And
Okay.
I'm still sexy. I just don't make that I don't lead with that.
Well, we have eyes. We can see what's popping. It's like, yo.
Yeah, but I don't,
Yeah.
If that's what people do, I'm all for any woman choosing to do what she's the most comfortable with. If that's how she wants to lead, I don't knock that.
If you want to be a whore, Stahhr don't give a fuck.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were whores, but I believe that.
Well, I'm gonna say this: if you out here talking about popping your coochie and shaking your ass to get the bag, and that men gotta get taxed, that's similar tactics to prostitutes, which some might call whores.
What if that's what they do in life and they're keeping it real, right? Like if a woman was a stripper and she raps about that, she's keeping it real.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that rap about stuff that doesn't apply to their actual life as well. They get creative, they get out the box. Storytelling, you might tell someone else's story. I get it, you're a stripper, you're the best ass shaking, whatever. But what else do you have to offer? Because I
agree with that. I mean, I feel like you should have balance. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. But fuck all that. That was a nice introduction to the show. Introduce yourself, girl. Let the people know what it is. Because me and you talk all the time. So me and you are just like, I'm kind of forgetting that we're doing an interview. It's like us just talking shit. We got an audience watching us. Introduce yourself, baby.
Peace, y'all. My name is Stahhr, and it's spelled Stahhr. The two H's are for hip-hop. I am born and raised in the South. I know that's blowing everybody's mind right now. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm an MC. Most of you would know me through my affiliation with MF Doom. I've been on 3 MF Doom albums. The King Ghidra, Take Me to Your Leader. The Food album under the sobriquet Angelica. And I was also on Born Like This. I had my own song, just like on Food, and it was called Still Dope. So that is probably how most people know me.
Well, that I like that name, Angelica. If I ever had a daughter, that's what I was gonna name her. So you're starting off on a good note.
Here's the story about Angelica. So Doom called me one day with Metal Face. Everyone's project was going to be something other than what they were known. Like, it wasn't going to be a Stahhr project. It was going to be a Metal Face project. So Doom called me one day. He's like, "Lo, I had this dream about you, and we were flying, and you had these blue lasers. She was shooting these blue lasers." And he's like, "Firestar." He said, "I want you to do."
Okay.
He said, "I want you to do your research." So I went to the comic book store. I bought all of the Firestar comics they had. They only had 3, so I don't have the 4th one. And her name is Angelica Jones. And I identified with her so much. Like, I understood. Like, Doom was like, "You just don't understand how much like her you are." He said, and me having that dream just put it together. But to me, Firestar is the little girl that was in Firestarter. And I always related to Charlie from Firestarter, like, always. So reading the comic and then seeing the parallels in my own life, it fits. So when the Metal Face album that I do comes, whenever that is, it might be a Stahhr album, it might be an Angelica album, but at that time and space when he gave me the name, everyone was gonna do a project and it would be under that Metal Face identity.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, that project hasn't dropped.
It was never done. We didn't get to it yet.
Okay, got you. Well, let's take people back to your humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? Not humble beginnings, but you know what I'm saying. You know, your earlier days. Like what type of kid were you, man? You grew up in Memphis. What was popping off for you? You grew up with your moms, your pops. You got a lot of sisters and brothers. You was getting knuckle sandwiches and.
Y'all want to get into the film? Okay, so here's the deal, right? I grew up in the suburbs of Memphis in a city named Germantown.
Girl, you be in the suburbs a lot, girl.
Yeah, that's where I live. Of the 2 black families in the neighborhood, my family was one.
Let's go.
A street over. So, very small town, close knit, nobody locked their doors, type of thing.
Nice.
Right. You know, and I didn't grow up around a hip hop influence at all, other than what I heard on the radio or what I saw.
So what was the radio station that was popping at the time for you?
K97, if I remember correctly, because I left in the late 80s, but I believe it was K97 was the station. So that's where I heard, you know, hip hop for the first time. You know, Houdini, the Fat Boys, Run DMC, all that. They played all that there. But I was, as a child, I wasn't really
Friends.
Right, exactly. Into music at a very, very young age. But as I got older, I would say maybe like around 10, 11, I really started embracing music a little bit more, like maybe 9, 10, you know. It didn't really lock in with me. Hip hop didn't lock in until though I heard, like when I really was like, okay, I'm a hip hop head. Slick Rick's first album. But back to how I grew up, because this is important and people do need to know this. So my parents divorced when I was very young. So it was my mother, my older sister, and my little brother. So I was raised by a single parent. My mother was an attorney, right? So she put herself through law school while she was pregnant with my little brother. And I grew up in that kind of environment. Like I would go to court with my mom, you know, I would be down at, you know, at the public defender's office with her, you know, that's where she worked or whatever. So I grew up around that. My father's mother lived in South Memphis. So I would spend weekends in South Memphis. So that gave me my connection with the more urban.
With the hood.
Like everybody was black, the hood, right, exactly. Everybody was black. So I got that balance. I would go over there, we would go to the candy store, we would, you know, play hopscotch and Red Rover and jump rope. So I was able to get that through being with my grandmother. So even when I would go back home to the suburbs and be like one of the only 20 black kids in school, I still had
flavor.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't until high school.
I know a lot of, I don't know a lot, but I've met a few black kids in my life from other places that they're very suburban, the way they speak, the way they dress, the way they act. And there's nothing wrong with it. because they just want to show
not at all.
that.
Not at all. I just got so immersed. Like once I got around hip hop, it just completely took me over. Like completely.
So now you're in Atlanta at this time.
For my life. When I got deep into hip hop, it was when I was in Atlanta. I had my first taste of it in Memphis, but I moved. But like I said, you know, what the Slick Rick album came out, what, 89?
Yeah. Somewhere 88, 89.
Yeah, 88, 89. So I heard that at a basement party in Chicago one summer when I went to visit my godmother, and they played the Pocahontas song. What is the name of the song? The Davy Crockett, it was an Indian girl. I heard that song, and it was a rap. I was like, that's it. Like, I'm all in.
Oh, so you started writing raps at that point?
No, I just was like.
Oh, you were like, oh, this is my shit. This is what I like. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm into.
I listened to, actually, I was listening to like everything, but I was really into heavy metal. I was into like the Sugar Cubes, which is the group that Bjork started in. So that's the kind of music I listened to everything, but I was really, really into heavy metal. So hip hop.
Really? I hate that shit, but I listen to all music, but I can't stand it.
It's rebellious music. So I was real rebellious as a child. So
yeah,
that was the exact opposite of everything. I'm like, ooh, can I piss my mother off by listening to this? All right, let's get it.
Oh, okay.
I was one of those.
Oh my God.
Moved to Atlanta and I started rhyming like age 15. I've been writing since I was like 7, writing like stories, poems, whatever. So I've been a writer. Man, I'm sharing a lot, but this is good because people need to know. I am who I am. And knowing what I came from and seeing the transformation, people do need to know that because it's a testament to the power of hip hop. Like when everybody says it's bigger than religion, it's bigger than the government, it completely changed my life. Like I did a 360 completely because I found culture. You know, I found culture in something that I identified with so strong. Like nothing ever really took me over like that prior to, my knowledge.
Well, I can understand. I became infected with hip hop at a very young age too.
So you already know.
Yeah, plus I was in the projects since a baby. That's where I grew up. So, you know, it naturally came to me. You know what I'm saying? But you had some kids that went to different shit in the neighborhood. But for the most part, we were all hip hop heads. You know what I mean? But once you catch that bug, no matter where you at.
Exactly.
If you with it, you with it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it was for me. It was like it had been waiting on me my whole life just for me to come around. So where are we? Yeah, so 15 is when I wrote my first rhyme. Now, I listened to the music and I loved it, but I never felt like I could rhyme just because I didn't grow up in an environment where I saw people around me.
Where it was encouraged, kind of.
Right. I'm just like, I just like the music, and like I would rap, and I might change a pronoun here or there to fit myself, and I would memorize all the songs. I started going to school with people who rhymed, like, oh man. Because I would see them like at the lunchroom table, you know, and I'm like,
well, now you can compare skills. Now you can start gauging yourself. You know where you're lacking, where you're strong at, and you pick up a few tips. And, you know, you meet people along the way that they know how to structure shit. So now, son might have a little bullshit song, and it inspires you to now, I got to come up with a hook. I got to have this. I got to have that. Like, whatever it may be. Maybe y'all collaborate and do something together. But it gets the juices flowing.
Right, I was having fun, you know, like I remember like, we would just like cipher and they're like, well, you know, you got to be able to rhyme off the top of the dome. And that terrified me. I was like, oh my God. So I worked on that so hard that ended up becoming like my strongest skill when I first started rhyming. So wherever I would go and we would rhyme, they would, y'all got to listen to her. Y'all got, and that's, I was so encouraged.
You know who you remind me of a little bit? The shorty from Diggable Planets.
Yeah, I get that a lot. That's my big sis, Mecca. Yeah. That's a compliment.
Well, no, so now you're rhyming, you're meeting people in school, and are they like, yo, we fucking with you? Are they like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You shit is whack, girl.
And that, like, and most, you know, typically, yeah. everybody was fucking with me, and a lot of people from New York, like that, they were like, "Yo," like I got really.
Oh, so they were New York heads already, like integrating down there in Atlanta.
From the beginning, the first crew I was in, everybody was from Queens, except for me and like one kid that was from Ohio, because they were like,
"Shout out to Queens, get the money."
Exactly, Queens, get the money. Yeah, my first crew, Bad Blood.
Really?
Yeah. What's up, D Lungs? So that's who pulled me in, and they hyped me up. They put the battery in my back. They loved me. They just gave me all the encouragement, all the tools, and then again, I was actually living the culture because we were going to shows. I was in ciphers, and I had friends that were graph writers. I was hanging out with the B-boys and the B-girls. Sometimes I got every element because
it's different nowadays. Like that's what I was telling people back in the days. Like cats wouldn't even produce a track for you. Like you wouldn't even be able to rhyme in the studio if you didn't prove yourself. Like there were all these levels you had to go to just to get accepted. And nowadays, you do a SoundCloud, you make a bullshit video in your grandmother's basement.
Here, off of a being an internet rapper.
And you're on.
We used to, we would go to Eric Sermon. Eric Sermon had a rim shop down here on Ralph McGill, and there was a studio underneath it. So I would go down there. We would rhyme down there at Underground Atlanta. Friday nights, there was a crew, the Crackpots. We would go down there. We one big, huge cipher. Nobody would battle each other per se. We would just all rhyme.
It rhymes, yeah.
So to me, I never battled. But because
I used to rhyme. I'm gonna keep it real with you. We used to do ciphers and shit, but my objective was to always kill niggas. I still rhyme, I still do my shit, but I'm doing this now, and I don't really focus on that too much. But I used to destroy niggas back to back, just fuck shit up. So my objective was always to destroy you, but not go at you. To lyrically be better than you. You know what I'm saying?
But like the battling, like your grandmother is a whore. Like I never.
We have battles like that too. Where
I never experienced that, but I would always, because I could freestyle, they would always pull me for battles. I did Blaze, I did Source, Red Bull. You know what I mean? But because I wasn't a battle MC, I didn't fare well. The only time, and shouts out to EO Dub. My best experience with something like that is I came to New York 2004. We went because Poison Pen is a good friend of mine, and he was hosting.
Yo, that's my homie, man. Shout out to the Ayak fam, Els, all that shit. Let's get it. That's my nigga right there.
So I went and I was, in the audience, and I'm like, yo, there's no girls on stage. Because that's just where I was all like, there's no women. They're like, well, you come up. What you got? And so I spit, and they put me in. I mean, again, not a local, but you feel me? I always got love.
It would be easier if he did me greasier for some ass, or a woman from his past, or groupie something to smash. I wanna strike back, but how do you attack an abstract, a bodiless form? He still prefer her on his arm. This charm bracelet face bitch, my time wasted ain't shit. Well, ain't this about her? He said he can't live without her. I'd rather die, but they're pale in comparison. All he talk about is her. My feelings hurt, shit is embarrassing. Now there's a chip on my shoulder, my heart grew colder. And snow cap boulders, I'm overthinking too much, 2 fucks he couldn't give. That's no way to live. Outlook negative. I miss the days when things were positive. She the one true love. I'm treated like the mistress. Distress. He going out more and giving me less. When I say something about it, he laugh it off like you bugging. This whole energy different, like there's a bun in the oven. Funny thing about it is I never seen it coming. Pandora. I'm feeling some